Recon Athlete Podcast is brought to you by Kreitz Market, The Social, and Focus Fit San Marcos. All right, Recon Athlete. Episode 93, Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez on the line. I'm assuming Zach Luceto is coming. On his way. Mr. Paul Rodriguez, what's going on, brother?
Good morning. I'm good, man. What's going on with you?
I'm chilling, man. You're nice and clean now?
Yeah. Fresh and clean, baby. Fresh and clean.
Yeah. You were in the shower and you forgot, or you were late?
Bro, I was late. I was like, man, I was getting ready. I was like, I kind of just forgot to let track of time. I'm like showering up, brushing my teeth, getting the pearly whites glistening this morning. And then I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, no, we late.
Yeah. That's all right, man. I was just making sure you're all right, dude. You know, making sure that we didn't get no, like, Rona overnight or something like that.
Heck no, man. Heck no.
Yeah. All right, episode 93. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez. Shout out to the watch partiers. Snoop Daniel on there. Zach Luceto on his way, I believe. We're going to talk a little bit of that DC scandal. I don't know. I wonder if Jerry Jones is kind of upset because the Washington football team, as they are now referred to, is like in the news, even though both reasons are kind of negative. They're still in the news. They always say, like, you know, even bad press is like good press or something. How's that saying go, Paul? Like, even I don't even remember. But it's just like, you know, as long as you're in the limelight, you know, people talking about you, you know.
Yeah,
it's a good
like bad PR is good PR.
Yeah. You know, so the Washington football team, as I hear everybody, because I've been listening to, you know, as a sports fan or, you know, sports talk radio fan, you listen to other sports talk shows, and everybody that refers to them now they do not say Redskins. They say the Washington football team.
Yeah, named TBD.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's a whole different subject. And then that was last week, and then this week it comes out a Washington Post story about, you know, sexual harassment allegations and just a culture that wasn't, you know, conducive to having, I guess, wasn't really welcoming to everybody. Well, it was welcoming, but maybe a little bit too much, right, Paul? Especially to the female employees of the Washington football team. And now Daniel Snyder's having to battle that whole situation. Hearing about this, Mr. Rodriguez, what's your initial reaction?
I'm not really surprised or shocked based off,
right,
you know, kind of the allegations that have been claimed by, I'm pretty sure, well-vetted sources from the Washington Post. And, you know, in today's world, I'm not really shocked by a whole lot of things, but I tell you where I was a little bit concerned, and, you know, this is the NFL, and Roger Goodell is so stringent on his players about protecting the shield. And, you know, we all have, or if you don't know, I have a very clear understanding that Roger Goodell works for the owners of the franchises, and Daniel Snyder is the owner of the Washington franchise. And with that being said, is that, you know, over the years, we've seen Goodell drop the hammer on players for questionable punishments based off of, you know, things that they've done. You know, like, you know, there was incidents where players have been clearly under the influence of alcohol or alleged alcohol and killed people, and they'll get a 4-game suspension. In other words, there's more catastrophic punishments that have been handed down for other things that are just a little more questionable. And in this instance, the Roger Goodell's been extremely quiet. Granted, he's going to be out in probably 2 years, and I'm really concerned that with the allegations dating back to the year 2006 to current or to 2019, it makes you think, where was the NFL in this process? Why did they potentially allow this to go on if allegations, I'm sure, have been out in the ethos, in the circle, in the industry of the NFL? Why wasn't the NFL doing a better job to maybe take a deeper look into all of these allegations potentially? And that's the only thing where I was a little concerned, was because clearly these allegations are extremely disturbing, going from, potentially are alleging that, some of the ladies in the industry had to, walk around topless. Some of the ladies had to do, acts that they weren't in line with, that they weren't complicit with. And so, there's other things out there that I'm kind of questionable, that are kind of rumored. And I'm wondering if this is the tip of the iceberg to where other information kind of gets leaked out. And this is big business, type of stuff, and where, there's been allegations that are rumors that, they may have paid off refs. They may have done some other things that are, just blatant cheating. And for Daniel Snyder to have the perception that he didn't know, or claim that he didn't know, is just a complete failure of ownership in his role, because that's where his stance is, like, oh, I wasn't aware. I'm like, how are you unaware of potential sexual assault in your franchise for over a decade? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And Mark Cuban came out and made a few remarks as well, in response to the report in the Washington Post. And he said, quote, "If you know Dan Snyder, if you're involved with the Redskins, if you connect to them, tell Dan and tell his senior management, you've got to just recognize what you did right and what you did wrong. You have to accept the mistakes you made. That's painful. I made a lot of mistakes, and that's the only way this is going to get resolved," end quote. And that was Mark Cuban talking about Daniel Snyder. And if you remember back to February of 2018, the Mavericks had their own allegations against their former CEO and president, Terdema Usuri, who left the team in 2015. So, Mark Cuban's been through this, and he issued public apologies, and we just did a lot of things to help resolve, not really resolve, you don't really resolve situations like that, but, attempt to make right things that were happening in the Dallas Mavericks organization. So, I mean, if there's anybody that Daniel Snyder, can look to and, just kind of model his response after, it would be Mark Cuban. So we'll see how this goes. What's up, Zach?
What's up?
You doing all right?
I'm good.
Chilling?
Yeah, I had to park far away, so long walk.
It was a 18-minute walk?
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
I walk slow.
All right. Shout out to Zach. Zach's getting here. We're just talking a little bit about the Washington football team, because we don't really say Redskins anymore.
They're taking them out of Madden. They're taking the name out of Madden.
Is it on Madden right now?
Right now, yeah. But the new one, so I don't know if they're probably going to update the current game, and then when the new one comes out next month, if they don't have a new name, it'll just, I don't know what to say, but they're saying that it won't be in Madden.
So, I mean, and that was the other story that, we talked, did we talk about the name change before? I don't know if we did. Paul, did we?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we did. Let's get into that a little bit. I know it's going to take a while. I mean, it's a big change. They're going to have to change pretty much everything about the team. And then there was like a bunch of names that people were talking about, and then some lawyer, somebody, I don't know if it was a lawyer, but some guy like copyrighted like a bunch of different team names, so that they would have to like pay him. And I actually thought about that, and I was like, man, wonder if those are copyrighted. And then I didn't really look into it.
What about the
Trademarked.
Washington Braves?
Can't do that.
I can't do it.
What about the Washington? Oh, I had a friend of mine. Shout out to Melanie.
Well, the Washington Rebels.
She suggested the Washington football players. What do you think about that?
So you can't do Braves. You can't do the. I'm not even gonna acknowledge that because I was dumb.
Washington football players.
Well, yeah, that could be anybody, and none of them are from Washington.
But actually, she said Washington football players, like
like with an A and then a dollar
with
sign.
With an A and a
dollar
sign at the end. Yeah.
Oh, well, in that case.
Yeah. That'd be dope.
That'd be dope. Yeah. How about that? Washington dope.
Yeah, they got rid of bullets and made it to the Wizards. I don't think they're going to say Washington dope. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of name changes. You know, they said Red Tails, Red Hawks. I don't know. Any of those, Paul? Were there any of those names that you saw that
Washington Recon athletes
that you were interested in?
Yeah, man. I saw the Washington Red Wolves, and someone did a mock up of there's just some like Photoshop mock up, and it looked pretty good. You know, they had some like icy white unis with the like kind of burgundy accent, and it looked pretty good. It looked more like a college team. It probably won't fly, but it looked pretty good. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure they're gonna come up with something. I don't know, man. It's just it's a pretty interesting time to be watching what's going on in Washington because I don't know if anybody knows this, but those guys report to camp like in 12 days. And so you got to figure out a scandal. You got to figure out a new name to brand in 12 days while these players kind of get to camp. So, you know, good luck, Snyder and his wife. And that's the first thing, too. Like, after the scandal kind of popped up, he let out a statement including his wife. And I'm like, I wonder if this is like a PR move to, like, dampen the effect with, you know, the scandal for the sexual assaults by bringing his wife. And I'm not sure how PR really works, but I kind of guess that makes sense by bringing his wife in to make things like, oh, well, we want to protect the women. We want to do, you know, some type of, you know, PR control to, you know, make this thing look better. But it's optics. I get that part, but I don't know, man. I'm the way I feel about things is like, just be who you are. And if you've never talked about your wife or brought your wife in before, why are you doing it now? It's just highly questionable.
I mean, you know, that's all it is, man. It's just optics, like you said. That's all it is. I mean, you know, he's trying to say, hey, you know, I respect my wife. I'm gonna, you know, make her a part of this, and I'm sure she's, you know, more than willing to be involved, you know, to help, you know, fix what's happening in that organization. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure she's not very happy with, you know, some of the things that were coming out. So, but yeah, I mean, the Washington football team got a lot going on right now. Besides, like Paul, like you mentioned, they got to report to camp here in 12 days. They got to come up with a new name. They got to fix their image as an organization, and then do all that in 12 days, and then start actually trying to get ready for a season. Snoop says Washington Red Asses. I don't think they'll do that. I like what about Red Skulls?
What about, I almost said Redskins.
Red Skulls.
What about, that's a comic book character.
Red Skull?
Yeah.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I guess they can't do that then.
What about
But that'd be cool though. It's kind of almost the same.
the Washington Rainmans?
That could be happening. And it'll be Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise.
I've never seen that movie, but I know what it is.
Never seen it?
Mm-mm.
Sorry. I liked Red Tails. I thought that was pretty cool. Red Wolves, as Paul you mentioned. But they got a lot going on, man. There's a lot of things going on in DC. Not only, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
gonna be tough for that team. I mean, you got Ron Rivera, new coach. I like the dude. You know, I think it'd be good. Go ahead, Paul.
I think that's their biggest asset right now is Ron Rivera, because I think based off his background, like, you know, he grew up in a military family and he had a lot of discipline growing up, and he's a player's coach. And so I think I think for Washington, their biggest asset is Ron Rivera to kind of establish the culture in the locker room. And I think that would easily kind of give some guidance and stability for the team. And maybe even, sit back and oversee and maybe work with Snyder a little bit more directly to get that front office in order. Because if anybody's going to have the strength and the fortitude to kind of get that franchise under control, I think Ron Rivera is the perfect candidate to do that. Although I don't think he deserves it because he didn't ask for all this.
What do you mean deserves? Oh, deserves like having to rebuild this organization.
Right. He didn't ask for all of this nonsense. It's like, is that one of the interview questions when you're talking to the owners? Like, hey, do you got any skeletons in your closet? If so, what are they? I'm pretty sure that's not being brought up by the interviewees.
Oh, Washington Red Skeletons.
Oh, very good, Chris.
All right, Recon Athlete, episode 93. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Luceto here on his phone. What you got going on your phone, dude?
I'm just reading some news about that guy I told you about
Which
yesterday.
Guy? Which guy?
The guy from Conley.
Oh, man. You want to mention that? You want to talk about that? No. Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about that. No. We'll talk about it off air. It's an off air thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. But yeah, man. So we got the NFL coming up here in 12 days. Major League Baseball started. They had something I just want to mention. Another topic as assigned. They did have 10,000. I think it was about 10,000 tests that they did, and I think only 5 or 6 out of 10,000 tests, they only had 6 tests come back positive. So that's a very, very low number for that many tests. And so I think that's a positive sign for Major League Baseball. The NBA hasn't been as, I guess, efficient in battling COVID-19. But from what I understand, the players in the Major League Baseball have had a lot of meetings together, and they've all kind of really come together and said, hey, let's take this thing seriously. Let's, try not to be out and about. Let's not be putting ourselves in harm's way, so we can get this, get this season going and get the season finished, so we can move on. And I thought that was good. I don't know, Paul. Did you see that about the number of tests and the low number of positives about Major League Baseball?
No, I really didn't kind of get into that much just because I was following mainly what's been going on in DC.
But I mean, hearing that number, 10,000 tests and 6 positives. I mean, your reaction to that? I mean, to me, that was a very thing for them.
Yeah, it's kind of like. Who are they testing with? Because maybe we can hand that over to Florida, Texas, and California to kind of see if our numbers are right. But I think that's a tremendous feat for. And that's the other thing too is like we always talk about the positive test, like the COVID positive. And my question is, are those guys sick? Are they asymptomatic or are they symptomatic? And so, but for having that low positive rate is I think very good. And then it's 10,000 players. Is that all the baseball players in the MLB, or is that like
no 10,000? That's just like how many? Because I think they're taking tests like probably every day.
Yeah.
So and that's with the players, the coaches, anybody involved with the team at all. So I mean, I think it's just it's the whole organization that's involved with the team. So like it's
that's even better if you're talking about coaches and auxiliary personnel plus the players. I mean, then that's totally awesome because you can isolate those tests that were positive and then have the 14-day quarantine and then boom, back at it. Now, granted, I'm sure maybe other people may test positive another time once they get retested, but for that lower number, that's very good. And I think that's very positive for other franchises. And maybe they can adopt some of the practices that they're doing. Hopefully the Rona's not spread over there with that cough and sneeze.
I know, dude.
But, that's exciting, man. That's a good tell. And I think also, too, maybe do you think it's the culture? Do you think it's the I don't know how it is for baseball players, Chris, but my thing is like for them to band together that well and take up the precautions by either wearing masks or maintaining the social distancing, whatever they're doing, which is probably what they are doing, and staying in their room and not going to get Grubhub downstairs. Do you think that that's a culture thing from the players, like the Hispanic culture, and maybe just the baseball players? Are they more rural type of individuals, or do they kind of come from all over in the United States? Like we understand the Hispanic players. I think you and I and Zach can identify with that kind of culture because we probably share a lot of those traditions. But for the black players and the white players that are American, do you think that they can easily adapt to that type of tradition that kind of maybe brings more continuity with the whole league?
I think, you know what it is? I don't know like exactly, but we can come up with theories. And to me, I mean, I think, and not that basketball and football, like there's not sacrifice, right? And there's not that grinding out thing. But I think with baseball, especially, I mean, we're talking 6-month season, I mean, there's a lot of sacrifice that these baseball players have to, just they have to give up big portions of their lives, right? Not being with their family, not being with the wives and the kids. Maybe when they're at homestands, they can, but a lot of times, I mean, they're on the road, and they might not even have their family like living in the town that they're playing in. So they might not see their family for really, really long periods of time. And not, like I said, it's not like that for football and basketball, but maybe it's a little bit different for baseball because they might be a little bit more, I guess, adept to that grind, like being away, being in hotels, like constantly and consistently and learning how to, and knowing how to stay healthy, for long periods of time on the road. Because I mean, when you're traveling like that, I mean, especially baseball, I mean, you're 3 or 4 days in one city and you'll go, 3 or 4 days in the next, and, 2 or 3 in the next, and you finally go home, and you do these homestands, and then you'll go out on the road again for, a week and a half or a week, 2 weeks, and then come back home. And I think maybe when because they're staying in these other cities, they're staying away from home, for a few days at a time, and they, maybe it's just something that they've learned how to do, to travel and stay healthy. And it's just something that they're able to grind out and have that mentality to have to sacrifice a lot of things in order to get their goals done. It's just, I think baseball is a little bit different than the other two major sports. Zach, what do you got anything to add on that?
No, I agree, and I think it's I think people are like starting to learn from the NBA, who already kind of started their bubbling process, and seeing people like slip up and have to restart their quarantine process. I feel like that's getting portrayed so negatively, that people are just kind of learning from that and trying to get it right the first time. Yeah,
and Major League, and I don't know, maybe they're fudging their numbers. I don't know. Not even gonna say that. But yeah, I mean, I think it could be a little bit, the culture could be different in the baseball world, as opposed to basketball, and we'll see what happens with football. I mean, like you said, Paul, I mean, we got 12 days, and so we've got basketball, and we've got baseball as our models. Paul, do you got any, I guess, predictions on what happens when the football players show up?
I sure hope, because football is a team sport. You have to rely on all 11 when you're on the field, either offense or defense or special teams. And I think that because that mindset is, you play for the guy next to you kind of mindset, hopefully everybody is doing, their fair share to be protected and social distance so that they can have a season. And I think, we've seen players like J.J. Watt come out and say, we want to play, but we have questions, as far as figuring out the testing and the protocols. And so my prediction is that the numbers for the testing should be low, but, it's 2020 and it's July 2020. So if it comes out that 20% of the league tested positive and be like, well, I'm not surprised, because we have such a high rate of positive tests in the United States, especially in Texas and Austin. So I'm not going to be surprised, but my expectation is for them to be probably like baseball, probably like less than 1%. So hopefully that could be something that they can move forward with, because I think those guys really do want to play, and they want to play, in a normal season, not something delayed or suspended.
Yeah. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 93, Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucero. And I think that's – so, I mean, it's almost looking like right now, fellas, like the professional sports might be the only ones that are going to happen. I mean, I hate to say that. I mean, we see more and more college level sports pushing back. I mean, we just had the Colonial Athletic Conference. They're the latest domino to fall in college football, and they're not going to have so they're kind of opposite of what Big Ten and Pac-12 said, where they're going to only have a conference football schedule. The CAA came out and said they're going to not have a conference schedule. So they could, but they're allowing their schools to pursue independent schedules if they want to. So basically, they're not going to play each other, but if they want to schedule games during the fall, they can, and it's up to the schools on whether or not they want to do that. So I mean, and to me that's just tricky, man, because it's like, okay, well, so then you got to go back to the drawing board and figure out, okay, we're not going to have conference, but are we, who are we going to play if we play, and how many games are we going to play? Man, I think I think once you said you're not going to have conference, you initially have already canceled the season, because to me, it's too late to try to find opponents, to play against and see what's going to happen. So, so that's, they're part of the FCS, and James Madison is probably the premier football team that comes out of there. Mm-hmm. They're and James Madison, their athletic program came out and said that they're going to try to go out and pursue a schedule, just to get some playing time. But it's just not it just seems like the smaller the conference and smaller the schools, the less and less you're going to have a chance to play football. But we still got, I think it was Coach Orgeron from LSU came out the other day, was doing an interview and said that he was like, we're getting ready, like we're going to play. He said, we're going to play. We're playing.
And I think it's tough for conferences like the SEC and the Big 12 that as of late have scheduled such big out of conference games. Like if you lose that game, and I think that's why we still haven't heard from either of those conferences, because if you lose that game, that's like a huge piece of
income.
Yeah, like, because I mean that's one of the biggest games of the year that people are circling on the schedule. And for people to say that it's just not do it, I think that's a little tough.
Yeah, I mean, but we're just, the more and more the cases rise, you see these schools, the smaller conferences, at least in the FCS, go ahead and say, you know what, we're just not gonna do it. I'm not sure what the other schools or what the other bigger schools and the bigger conferences are waiting on. Hopefully, I guess maybe they're waiting to see if any numbers drop. But I just think the bigger I think personally the bigger the economic downfall of not having a schedule is, the longer they're waiting. And I know, Paul, you're more on the lines of the legalities of it and having people getting sued.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, and maybe the more I think about it, Paul, maybe you're right, because I mean these smaller schools don't have the treasure chests that bigger schools have to pay legal fees, and so they're saying, okay, well, let's just go ahead and cancel this thing, so we don't have to worry about having to come up with paying our lawyers.
Yeah, it's a very real thing that people need to take into consideration. I mean, it's number one, you have to understand how expensive it is to operate a football team at the college D1 level. It's extremely, uh, it's a high price to pay. It's extremely expensive. And now that these teams are playing only conference only, like the Big Ten and the Pac-12, some of those games may have been their whole season. They're to finance their whole season, that one game, because teams will go play another team and another team will pay that team to come in to play at their home stadium. Now, with that being said, the larger schools are going to have tons of disposable income to pay a potential lawsuit if something is filed against the university in the SEC and the Big 12. I would hope to see. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. I would really like to see if maybe some of those games that the SEC was supposed to play in the Big Ten or the Pac-12 or in a different conference, maybe they'll just pair those games up with the Big 12. Maybe we'll have a mega conference, quote unquote, unofficially.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those non-conference games are going to be played directly between the SEC and Big 12, and that would be really awesome to see. Geographically, they're pretty, they're the same south and southeastern part of the United States, and so that would be a fun thing to see. But getting back to the legalities, I mean, I sure hope that the universities do their due diligence to make sure that they're covered, because if the day, God forbid, a player passes away due to COVID, it's going to be, it's going to be open season on that university financially.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I just the more and more news that comes out on these schools, canceling stuff, the less and less I get excited about seeing any kind of college football. And I don't know, man. We'll see. But we're running out of time. We got like a month until they're supposed to be, or less than a month until they're supposed to be, training camps, and end of August, early September. I mean, we're talking like 6 weeks. I mean, that's not a lot of time. And the way that things are trending with with COVID-19, it's not looking good so far. So we shall see. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 93. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucero. Before we get into Fight Island, Zach, Zach came to Revelry last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, him and Snoop after the show came by.
Cool.
So they hung out on the patio. Was the patio okay? Was it too hot?
It was cool. Honestly, actually, I don't want to say that. I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, you can say it.
No, I don't want to say it.
Oh. Was it too hot?
No, it was fine. It was fine.
You waited too long for your food?
No. I was going to say something else. I definitely did, but I wasn't. I was more there for like the social aspect than the food.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a little burnt too.
Yeah, I know, right?
You saw that?
I saw that.
Yeah,
I was like, man, come on, dog. Anyways,
the fries were good though.
Oh, we got some of the bomb fries. Paul's had the fries.
I wanted to ask for the little Parmesan on it, but you walked away too fast.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
But
got you some.
The fries were good for sure.
Okay. Well, man, I appreciate you coming by, dude.
I might just have a whole entree portion of fries next time.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
It was cool, man. We just had we were kind of short in the kitchen. And I felt bad, dude, because, I've been in the kitchen before. So I could have gone back there and tried to help. But, if you don't know where everything's at and you don't know, like what to do and, how to, you just kind of get in the way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I did help, wash a few dishes and, kind of put things away and kind of help back there in the kitchen a little bit last night. But, I felt bad because, it was the chef by himself. So it's like one person trying to cook for all these,
And there was because y'all was closed.
Yeah.
And they were just barely getting their food.
Yeah.
So y'all probably had to stay late, huh?
Yeah, we had to stay a little bit late. But yeah, it was just, but I wanted to get, and I was trying to watch a little bit so I could see, okay, well, he's doing this and doing that. Cause I wanted to get back to, but the kitchen is so small that there's almost only room for one person back there, so you really have to be, in sync with the other person that you're in there with. You know what I'm saying?
But shoot, you could have made me a grilled cheese.
I could have made you a grilled cheese. I could have made you a grilled cheese. That's for sure, man. That's for sure. But yeah, it was cool, man. You know, we were just
It was good to see you in your little element.
Yeah, it's definitely different than my other element. So, but yeah, it was cool, man. I think I won't. I'm so we were pretty busy last night, and then so I don't know if I'm gonna go by there tonight just to check in. If they don't need me, I'll probably just have a beer. If they do, then I'll clock in or whatever and help them out because they were busy last night. Cheese. Yeah. And then I'll be there again for brunch on Sunday. So, but did you feel socially distanced and safe?
I felt fine.
Yeah.
I felt fine. I mean, you kept touching on me, but other than that, I was fine.
I know. I kept coughing in your face. So.
But no, it was cool. I enjoyed it.
Oh man,
that might be like the new thing to do after the show on Fridays.
Yeah, man.
I'll just have to text my order ahead of time.
Yeah. You got to bring the lady, man. It's a good place to bring the lady.
It's just the opposite direction from where she stays.
Where does she stay?
By Concordia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of far, man. You drive all over the place, dude.
Sometimes I got to make sacrifices,
But yeah, man, it was cool. You and Snoop came by Revelry last night. And speaking of Snoop, hey, do we want to play your interview, Paul?
Yeah, sure.
Hour 1 or 2?
Hour one.
Hour 1?
Okay. Hour 1.
Hour 2, Snoop broke the mic, so during the interview. So.
Oh man, but I had hour. Okay.
Is that what would happen? Because Snoop says there's something going on.
Yeah, the little Chris, the little mic stand thing.
Yeah.
The mic came off of it, so Snoop was just holding it.
Oh, really?
And Sam came in to fix it.
Oh.
So you gotta find it.
So,
it's like the first interview of hour 1.
First interview, hour 1. Okay. All right. I'll find it. Let's see if I can get this pulled up here.
Would be socially conscious and speak out about serious issues.
Here we go.
Former dual sports star for the Georgetown Eagles.
Let's see.
Recruiting,
like how far into it?
Yeah, who else you got?
Probably
it's going on right now.
Oh, is it?
You'll get to hear from Cannon Webb, hear how he got the offers. And real
There's
quick,
Snoop.
Paul, before you get into the football notes,
Is this it right here?
I do want to shout out a couple of basketball offers. McCallum Ford, Rob Wade, as confirmed by our reporter Grace Nugent, received an offer via Southwestern. He could wind up joining, Gabe Rayer, Sam Lacey, Jacob Hester, who all graduated last year and headed up to Georgetown to go to Southwestern. Sam Marcos for Malik Presley. We brought him on the show last week. We told y'all if you didn't know his name, you were going to. He picks up a Big 12 offer from Oklahoma State this week. Big shout out to you, Malik, speaking of Sam Marcos. But, okay, Paul, thank you so much. You just want to go ahead and show basketball a little love. But the football, is Texas, so that's what's popping. So what's popping in the ATX?
Oh, man, no doubt. But, yeah, like we said, just tease Cannon Webb. Sam Marcus's DB getting 2 offers this week, actually. One from Albright College and then one from Bates College. So I think these are about his 3rd or 4th offers on the year. So I'm pretty sure Coach Walsh down there is really excited to see his team grow as they move forward.
Yeah, who else you got? Paul Rodriguez, recon athlete.
And then, Lucas Maru doing it again this week. Westlake DB Lucas Maru getting an offer from Brown University over in the Ivy League, which they'll probably play in the 2021 season since they did go ahead and cancel this year's 2020 season for the Ivy League.
Yeah, that's a shame, and but Lucas Maru, man. I hope they get to play because I really think he's going to get an offer from a bigger school even. But Paul Rodriguez at Recon Athlete talking ATX recruiting.
And then the man back again. It's really good to see these young men running it back. Veterans Memorial down in San Antonio, part of the new coverage area. It's Veterans Memorial DB Simeon Woodard getting an offer from Lamar University. So a smaller D1. But good to get that offer off the table. And then we'll shoot on over to Connolly. We got Eloy Cisneros, wide receiver for the Connolly Cougars, getting an offer from Valdosta Prep College. So I think that's going to be a new program that's going to be competing in D3 in the 2021 season.
Yeah,
so
Paul.
Prep.
Yeah, and Paul, real quick, big shout out to Eloy because I seen his teammates get crunk when they seen his offer, put it on social media, and really encouraging him. And that was a deep reach he had to get that info. So a big shout out to Cisneros, man. Connolly America back.
Exactly, man. And then, it's Offer Friday for those who don't know. We'll go back to Hayes County. Dripping Springs quarterback Preston Alford getting an offer from Eastern Kentucky. So that's the first D1 offer for the young man. I believe the first offer for him overall as well.
Okay, yeah, Preston Alford, of course, our super sophomore. Crazy. Okay, so if you pick up the new Dave Campbell's magazine, there's no mention of Preston Alford in the Dripping Springs section. And and big shout out to Dave Campbell's because they work really, really hard. But, I mean, that was, I think that was really the only team I saw that they kind of missed. So if you pick up Dave Campbell's DCTF, great magazine. They did a great job. Dripping Springs, probably not covered properly, but, it's hard to cover all the schools. But big shout out to Preston Alford. His brother, Parker Alford, by the way, playing for the UT Longhorns. So Alford family dynasty down in the Drip.
And then one last note for Preston. I believe he was the offensive MVP for that district last year. I think they're moving on.
12-5A.
That's right, 12-5A. And just to round it out, the last offer of the week, unless there's one on Twitter that I haven't seen or missed while we're on the air.
Probably is.
and that man who I thought he would get a big D1 offer, and it came in, Cedar Park linebacker Logan Shaw, the 6'3", 200-pound linebacker, getting an offer from UT Permian Basin. So that's really good to see them. One side note about UT Permian Basin, they're building a huge new facility out in West Texas. So they're trying to garner that big talent to take them out to the Odessa area so that they can kind of grow that talent pool out there in West Texas.
All right. Well, Austin on everything. Yeah, Austin. ATX. Paul, thank you so much at Recon Athlete. Let's recap again, 8 o'clock, please, so we can talk more about these ATX recruits and, for the listeners to get off late. Appreciate you, Paul.
Thanks.
All right. Good job, Paul. Shout out to Snoop. Friday Night Flex. You can check out Mr. Snoop Daniel with Zach Lucero and Paul Rodriguez every Friday night from 7 to 9 o'clock. And then you can catch Snoop and Zach over at Revelry after 9, and come hang out. Paul.
Oh yeah.
You want to add anything to that, or just?
Yeah, there was actually another offer that came in late last night around 9:30. Cedar Park once again. This time, Cedar Park wide receiver Gunnar Absek getting an offer from UT Permian Basin. So that's the son of head coach Absek as well. So that's another good offer. Gunnar had an offer from, I believe, East Texas Baptist University. So did Logan. But for those two young men to get a D1 offer is a big kudos to Coach Absek and his staff. So also want to give a quick shout out to Coach Rodriguez, who's the recruiting coordinator for Cedar Park. So big ups on him for getting all of that information out to the appropriate universities, so you can get to the right talent pool in the Cedar Park area.
All right, that's what's up, man. And we'll stay in the high school football realm, and just from what I'm hearing, man, just like talking to different people, administrators, talking to people from different parts of the state. I mean, we've seen, Houston come out already and said, Houston ISD said that they're not going to have any kind of extracurriculars until they get back into into the classroom. If that's the case, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, if like logistically, it wouldn't happen because you have so many people like playing club sports in the spring and playing multiple sports. Mm-hmm. But what if they just moved all the sports to the spring and there was like a sport every day? Like you watch volleyball on Monday, basketball on Tuesday, soccer on Wednesday, baseball on Thursday, and then football on Friday.
Yeah, and the players would have to choose. You'd have to choose one sport.
That'd be cool though.
It would be cool. It would, and I know the UIL came out and said that you don't have to be on campus to participate in extracurriculars, but the way things are going right now, I mean, Houston, Dallas, the Austin area, they're pretty much on the mentality that if we're not going to have in class instruction, then they're also not going to have extracurricular activities. But then I talked to a friend that is in the Lubbock area up in Friendship ISD, and she said that we just talked about it yesterday. I said, hey, what's it looking like for the fall up there in Lubbock? And she said everything's going to be normal. She said we're expecting to go back into class. She said they are going to have the choice between, virtual learning or in-class learning, but she said the vast majority of the parents, and I was like, well, she said the vast majority of the parents want to send their kids back to school in the Lubbock area. So there's going to be that choice to do virtual learning, but she said like it's the mentality there is we're sending the kids back to school. So, I mean, you might have, I'm getting the feeling that you might have football in some parts of the state and no football in other parts of the state. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, but, we'll see. I mean, we might have to, go out to West Texas and in next month or two to go catch some live football games. Paul, are you down with that?
I wonder like,
Oh yeah, that one. Better believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they'll work something out where, like, if a player is playing in an area where they're not having football, if he'd be allowed to go play somewhere else.
I don't know about that, but I know, I mean, there's obviously going to be 7-on-7. There's going to be like, they're still going to have AAU basketball. They're still going to do all kinds of things. And that's the unfortunate thing about this whole situation is you can't, the school districts can't do it because, we've talked about it because they'll get sued. But so to me, it's like, okay, well then how are they going to have all these private, there's right now, I mean, you go on Facebook or, whatever, you see all these kids playing baseball at baseball tournaments, at basketball tournaments, at volleyball tournaments,
in Florida, they're having like a national tournament for volleyball. It's like 14,000 people. Yeah. In Florida.
Right.
This weekend.
Yeah. And I just don't get it. It's just like, man, like maybe. So I don't know. I mean, is there something that when you're signing up for these things that you sign a waiver that protects the organization, and if that's the case, they can't do that at the school level? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know.
So this kind of thought process stemmed from a friend of mine that's a coach at a pretty prominent school in the San Antonio area, and he said they were at strength camp one day, and the head coach walked over to him and was just talking, and he said, I just got the phone with the superintendent, and he told us that we can do whatever we want in terms of the COVID stuff, and that he's basically using our strength program as like a test to see how we handle the COVID thing, how that works out when someone gets it. And they had a quarterback test positive for it, and they only sent the quarterbacks, like, so his position, to go get tested and quarantine, and only one other quarterback tested positive. And then after that, they were good. So I feel like a lot of these organizations, the AAUs, the selects, the club leagues and stuff like that, I feel like the major like public school, I don't know what, like whatever UIL is, like or organizational bodies or whatever, are using these tournaments and these leagues as like a way to base off, well, how did theirs work? Before we say anything, let's let them do it and let them catch any heat. And if they don't, and if things turn out well, then we'll just go based off of their model. What did they do to prevent things? What did they do to prevent lawsuits or maintain safety and things like that? So I feel like the UIL, for instance, has no problems with this tournament in Florida, and they're probably sending someone there to take notes and to kind of use these things as like a trial and error type thing before they make any real decisions.
Yeah, Paul.
I follow this pretty closely, just with all the ongoings with, governing bodies like the UIL. And I don't know if y'all know this, but Friday TAPS released their schedule on what they want to do. And I'll go ahead and read that to you. And if y'all don't know, TAPS is the governing body for the private schools in the state of Texas. And they said that they've announced that September 8th, strength and conditioning will be allowed to resume. September 15th, full pads can resume. September 21st, they can have one scrimmage that week. And on September 28th will be the first week of football games that they have. And it also governs volleyball as well for the fall sports. Now, with that being said, the UIL stated Friday they're going to make an official release on COVID and progressions moving forward on Monday. So I have a feeling, because these governing bodies probably communicate together and they've been very, very watchful of what's going on in the United States, that I believe, I've
Ooh, we'll never get to know.
Never get to know.
Never get to know what he believes.
Lee, call failed. Failed.
I believe.
I don't know, dude. That was the. I wonder if that's like the. He knows too much.
Yeah, and they shut him off.
They shut him off, dude. Paul, I don't know if he's. Hopefully, he's not still talking. So we got to remember, like, you got to remember what you said after I believe. Hey, bro. Hey,
man, guys, the call dropped. The call dropped. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you know too much, dude.
So getting back, maybe it's Big Brother shutting me down.
I'm telling you, dude, you know too much, bro.
Let me just kind of
be careful out there.
Get back. Yeah, well, I watch my back. I'll have kind of hire some security.
All right.
But getting back,
we heard up until the point where you said, "I believe."
I believe that we'll have district only. Yes, we will win, and it'll be huge. We're going to win big. So, look, guys, I think we're going to have football. It's going to be district only. I think that falls in line to all the schools, even Houston. Houston's been, I think, the biggest proponent of not starting until October, and I think that's a pretty radical statement. But even if they do start in October, I think that would still allow the schools in the Houston ISD, which does not, that doesn't affect the Katy schools or the Woodlands or other schools in the surrounding school districts. It'll only affect the Houston schools. And so with that being said, I think we can have high school football. We're probably just going to get 6 to maybe 6 weeks of district and then the playoffs, which something's better than nothing. So let's just be, I think, grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. I just think I don't know what, there's going to be a lot of lawyers involved, I believe, so.
And the kids want to participate. Yeah, they could. The kids want to play, and it's on Twitter. The kids are saying, my parents will sign a waiver to let us play sports.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, maybe we see this, or once a vaccine is produced, I'm pretty sure the UIL and the school districts will say, hey, before you come back to school, get that vaccine. And once we have that, things will probably things will go back to the way they were before. But right now, I think the proper precautions are to. I'm in line with not having in-class instruction until September, and then we can have probably sports in late September. And I'm okay with that.
All right. My prediction is we're not going to get back into the classroom until January.
Okay.
Just because we're having this spike right now. Flu season is going to come around, and you're going to have flu season and COVID-19 still around. Just the impact of having those two together at the same time, it's gonna get pretty bad. But not everybody's gonna be COVID-19. But it's gonna be flu season as well.
But I mean, if you got flu symptoms, they're gonna make you quarantine yourself like you have COVID-19.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have flu, so that's gonna be even more people that have to be quarantined. So I mean.
Right.
I just don't know how it's it's going to be a miss.
That could potentially help our positivity test rate if everybody just got the regular flu and having to get COVID tested and don't got COVID.
Okay.
And then maybe that's that statistic.
But we'll see. I'm hoping y'all are right. I'm just thinking, from
what he's seen
from
at
what
Revelry,
what I've seen at Revelry. I just but I don't know. We'll see. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 93. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Luceto. We had some UFC Fight Island tonight, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. I mean, I hate reading the names for UFC.
I don't know.
I'll do it.
Do you know how to pronounce them?
Yeah.
You do?
I'm not bad. I mean, I'm not the best, but I'm not Joe Rogan, but I know.
Well, I'm just like, it's like reading the names of UFC fighters is like, watching like they're trying to read names of like ice skating.
Trying to read the ingredients that are in your.
Yeah. Yeah, the ingredients to Pepsi or Coca-Cola or something like that. So, all right, Paul, I'll let you do it since you know how to pronounce their names.
Lead the segment, Paul.
So yeah, Fight Island Part 2. I thought that was pretty clever. I kind of took that off of you, from you, Chris, in Hot Shots. That's a movie in the 90s, Zach. If you want to go home and figure that movie out, it's pretty funny. But in the flyweight, this is going to be the ESPN Plus. This is going to be the main card, not the prelims. That's my understanding. It's going to be Alexandre Padonja versus Askar Askarov. That's the flyweight matchup. And the women's flyweight, it's going to be Aaron Lipsky versus Luana Carolina. Lightweight matchup, Mark Diakisi versus Rafael Fiziev. And the middleweight,
Luana Carolina.
Luana.
Yeah.
Figure skating, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And the co-main middleweight matchup, we got Jack Hermason versus Kevin Gastelum. And the flyweight title fight, this is going to be a big 5-round matchup. It's going to be Davison Figueiredo, I think that's right, versus Joseph Benavidez in the flyweight title matchup. But yeah, man, like I said, I'm not a professional at pronouncing some of these Brazilian last names because Brazilian, it's probably Portuguese more than Brazilian, but definitely a challenging last name to pronounce.
Yeah, they like to put like 3 or 4 vowels together and then put a consonant and then another vowel or 2 and then a consonant and then end it with a vowel. So it's kind of hard.
Portuguese is not my strength.
Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, check that out. Fight Island. I think the prelims start at 4:00 on ESPN. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights, and then are they going to get 7? Yeah, I guess they could. And then at 7:00 on ESPN Plus is the main event. I'll see if we can get it put on over there where I'm heading later. It will be playing here for sure. I know Snoop will be checking it out.
Aren't y'all on Paul's ESPN Plus?
No, Snoop's got his own.
Oh, I was about to say, so all the times you buy it, you just buy it on Paul.
No. Snoop's got his own.
But I know if you buy it, you can watch it on 2 different screens.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he watches it on his computer and then also on the Roku we got here. So I don't know how much is ESPN Plus, anyways. No ads.
But I mean that doesn't cover the fight. And that's his pay-per-view, I guess.
This isn't pay-per-view, right, Paul?
No, this is ESPN Plus exclusive.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, the last week's matchup was like you got to pay for ESPN Plus, which is like $6 a month, and then you got to pay the $65 pay-per-view. So you got to double dip, and then this main card tonight is just a part of the regular $6 subscription.
Hey, did y'all see that they proposed a date for Wilder Fury 3?
Yeah, was it December 18th?
Yeah. And do you see where they are going to have it? It's not. I don't think it's going to happen because of where they're saying they're going to have it. Is the new Las Vegas Raiders stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I saw the date. I didn't realize that they wanted to do it there. Why don't you think they would have it there?
Because what's the point of having it there if there's going to be no fans?
It's true.
I think there'll be fans for that.
Well, we got flu season on top of COVID season and what I've seen at Revelry.
What did y'all see at Revelry?
Nothing. He's just BSing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
I thought something went down.
Nah, man. No, dude. Everything's good over there. Like I said, like all the tables are at least 6 feet apart. We're taking temperatures. We're masked up, gloved up. I have to remind people to put their masks on. I meet them at the door and be like, put your mask on. I had to get on a couple people yesterday though because like they got up. They were eating inside and they got up and went to the bathroom without their mask, and so like I had to like,
hey, no running.
Yeah.
You were the hall monitor.
Did you blow your whistle?
My safety patrol. I need a whistle. Yeah, I need to have my safety patrol sash on.
So they started. Speaking of whistle, they the AVP, which is professional beach volleyball, this weekend, and the referees. So everyone has to wear a mask except for the players.
Mm-hmm.
So the referees are wearing masks, so they can't have a whistle.
Mm-hmm.
So they have handheld whistles that they press a button and it whistles.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey man, when are you gonna let me start playing volleyball, dude, with you?
Whenever I'm gonna have to set up like a pacer test to check your athleticism before I bring you out there.
Oh, okay.
And do some ladder drills, some little short sprints, maybe some push-ups, maybe some
I could do the
hand-eye
push-ups.
coordination. I'm gonna throw those little things that Alvin Kamara had.
Oh yeah,
Catch
yeah.
him on the Bosu ball.
Okay.
Throw you some of those, and then I'll grade you out.
Okay.
Recon athlete combine. Sorry,
beach volleyball combine.
Other topics as assigned.
Yeah.
So now that they've pretty much finished releasing all the Madden ratings,
Mm-hmm.
Paul, you probably know this. You've probably seen it on social media. But Chris, there are 5 99 overall players this year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name them? One, I'll give you the position. All right. One is a quarterback. Who do you think that is?
Patrick Mahomes.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
One is a running back. Do you know who that is? We've already been over this, so you should know it.
Have we?
Yep.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Dang it. It's not. Is it Zeke Elliott? No, it's not Zeke.
Come on, man.
Alvin Kamara.
No,
man, come on, Paul. You gotta let him answer.
I just said no.
Let him lock in his answer before we tell him. No.
I don't know who it is.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say one is not like the other.
Oh.
All right. Another one is a defensive lineman.
Aaron Donald.
Correct.
I got that one.
So you're 2 for 3. All right. One of them is a wide receiver.
Julio Jones.
You locking it in?
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
Dang.
Michael Thomas.
Ah, that would have been my second guess.
All right. So you're 2 for 4.
Yeah.
This one will put you over or under right here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get it.
You're not gonna get it. One is a cornerback.
No idea. Stephon Gidry.
Stephon Gidry.
Yeah.
I'll give you like half a point.
All right.
Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore. Yeah.
Stephon Gidry.
Gidry. Gilmore.
Yeah. Stephon
Okay.
Gilmore.
That's what it is. Sorry.
And that's the one that
I pulled a Paul and called him the wrong name.
that a lot of people
That's right.
a lot of people were like kind of disagreeing with, calling him. But I feel like unless you're Darrelle Revis, people are gonna say that system corner tag is just really placed on everybody. Because I mean, Richard Sherman was a 99 a few years ago, and people said the same thing, that he's a system corner.
Wasn't he pretty? He was still rated pretty high, right? On this Madden.
Yeah, I think he's like top 5.
Okay.
But people are upset that it's not Jalen Ramsey or Tre'Davious White is rated significantly lower than those guys. So when you see Stephon Gilmore play, Chris and Paul, do y'all see him as the best corner in the league? As a perfect corner?
It's hard for me to say, like, because I feel like those 3 guys, like the ones that you mentioned, it's like they're kind of interchangeable, you know? I mean, I don't know. Unless I'm over on the sidelines and got the EA Sports thing on my back and I've been trained how to do this stuff. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't say. I mean, Paul, you might have a better answer.
Chris, what's the eye test? What do you think?
I mean, I only watch. I mean, when I watch football, I usually watch my fantasy guys, and I'm watching, the Cowboys.
Well, maybe Recon League should be one of those leagues where you have to draft a defensive player. Have you ever done one of those?
No,
I haven't either. Paul, have you?
No, that's too much. That's for me. I don't have that much patience.
And then, so my final question to you guys regarding the Madden ratings: if you were going to give someone else a 99 overall, who would it be? Who else did you think is
Tom Brady.
Deserving. I think he's only a 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a 90.
Paul, do you have one?
I mean, Miles Garrett did have 26.5 sacks last season. So if I had to give it to somebody, I'd probably give it to him.
I feel like EA Sports is in like a tough spot where maybe he might be deserving of it, but like if you give him a 99 the year after he hit someone in the face with a helmet, it's almost like you don't want to reward someone that did something like that. Although the Browns did just reward him with the highest paid player like ever. But I think for me, I think you could look at a guy like Jamal Adams to be up there pretty high, like a safety, which I think, curious enough, he's not even the highest overall safety. That's Harrison Smith is the highest overall rated safety in Madden this year. But speaking positionally, what about Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback for the 49ers? I mean, if we're speaking positionally, that guy has to be a 99 in his position in terms of the versatility he brings to it and things like that.
So you want to give him a 99?
99 fullback?
Yeah. He's the only one out there. The other guys are H-backs. You got to give it to him by like default.
Yeah. So if there's another fullback this year, like, do they go back and?
Well, I mean, if someone that does it and is as productive as he was, then yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't play Madden enough to like know like how that affects anything.
Yeah.
You know.
I have an overreaction question, Zach, for you, and Chris, you can chime into this. Do you think that the Madden rating for Rob Gronkowski was a reach coming out of retirement, and being like the number 3 rated tight end at 95?
So who was above him? Kittle, probably.
Kittle and
Kelsey.
And Kelsey.
I guess
it was Kittle and Kelsey.
I mean, who else would be above him then?
No, my question is 95. Do you think that's a reach? I think
Zach
it's a reach.
Ertz. I think
Zach Ertz would be.
See, but just speaking as someone that plays Madden, is Zach Ertz is always going to be rated a little lower because he's not a good blocker, and so like that factors into your overall rating at tight end. So, but I mean, I think based off the scale of like Kittle and Kelsey being so high, the next best person. Then if Rob Gronkowski's the next best person, he probably like realistically would probably be closer to like a 91 or 90. But that's a bit of a gap to go from 1-2 to all the way down to 90.
Yeah, Snoop says Ertz too.
Yeah, see, but Ertz will never be rated high because he's not a good blocker, and that factors in too much to that position's overall rating. You know, like if you're a receiver and your blocking is really, really low, that's not going to factor in that much. But since you're a tight end, and there's the Madden doesn't have like receiving tight end and blocking tight end. Yeah. It's just tight end, so that's going to factor in a little more to your rating. I mean, like, let's put it in layman terms for you in baseball. Like, if you're a pitcher who has bad batting, you're still going to be a high rated pitcher.
Yeah. It's true.
Do you think that Rob got a couple of extra points just because Tom Brady's a quarterback and the relationship?
I definitely don't think he's rated that high if he's playing for anybody else.
Word. Agreed.
Because I wonder what,
like if he went back to New England.
Right. I wonder, especially after taking off a year. Again, I think we're sitting back in that like 90, 91. But I wonder what O.J. Howard is. Because off for a season, Rob Gronkowski can't be that much better than reaching his prime O.J. Howard.
I don't know.
You know?
But we don't really, I mean, we don't know because we haven't seen it.
Right.
You know, like maybe he comes back like refreshed and ready to roll.
But you know, like they say like the bird in the hand and the bird in the bush or whatever. Yeah. Like you know what you got with O.J. Howard, so
we're so good with our colloquialisms.
Yeah.
So O.J. Howard is rated as a 81.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're telling me
Rob
Gronkowski is like 20 points better than O.J. Howard?
Yeah, 14 points. I do not agree with that. That's just crazy.
Jeez Louise.
BJ says Ertz is a good blocker.
That's a bummer for O.J. Howard. But I don't think Ertz is like at the same level blocking as Kittle, Kelsey, and Rob Gronkowski.
I don't know. I didn't watch enough Philadelphia Eagles football to.
You know, you need to get a league pass or whatever.
Yeah.
Golden ticket or whatever it's called.
Red zone.
Yeah.
If they have, you know what? I'll get that if they have a season this year, this fall.
All right.
For real. All right, Recon Athlete. What?
Let's be optimistic.
Trying, dude. Trying, man. It's just, all this news that comes out. I'm like, dang, everybody's.
You need to stop watching the news.
Well, I mean, I have to see something. Try to figure out what's going on in the world. Try to watch BBC or something like that, I guess. Maybe Telemundo. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 93. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucero. Shout out to everybody that was on the watch party today. We'll come back with episode 94 on Wednesday. Still no homework, Zach? Still no homework for us?
Still no homework.
You been watching anything lately?
No, I started watching that Zac Efron show on Netflix. It's actually really, really interesting. Like he's like travels the world and looks at places that are exploring different renewable energy sources.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty interesting, but I wouldn't homework it. It's pretty good. You should check it out.
What?
Yeah.
Why is he doing that?
I don't know. He met some guru dude or something and like traveling the world.
That's
made
weird.
A show out of it.
That's weird.
They went to Iceland, to this place where like there's so much like geothermal like energy under the surface that there's like this place where you can like dig up the sand on the beach, and they put all these ingredients in like a tin and put it and buried it under the sand, and it baked bread.
Really?
Just off of the heat from the earth.
Oh wow.
Yeah, crazy.
That's pretty cool. I want to go to there.
And then they went to France, and France has like they see water as like you don't have to pay for water.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like water fountains all around France, and it's like clean water that you can like, just go drink. It's not just regular old tap water. And they even have some stations that's sparkling water. And you just bring your own little bottle and just fill it up for free. Interesting.
Is this where you learn all your things about the world?
Yeah, from Zac Efron.
All right. Shout out, Zach.
Yeah, shout out to this empty chair.
All right. Paul, shout outs?
No shout outs for me today, but Chris, you need to pass your TV news watching to Zach, and Zach, you need to pass your Zac Efron documentary to Chris so y'all can balance each other out.
All right. Will do. I'm going to shout out to God, shout out to my parents. We're going to getting closer and closer to 100. So, we'll try to do something special or something. Maybe I get a cake with my face on it again, and we'll share that with everybody. But yeah, shout out to everybody that was on the watch party today. Shout out to Snoop for having these knuckleheads on your show every Friday night. Really appreciate that. And do your thing, Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all are enjoying this podcast, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. And everybody on YouTube, hit the bell. We'll let you know we upload. We gone.